Hello, this is Michael Bosey. Welcome to Marketing Without the Marketing, my podcast where I try to teach you everything that I know about content marketing in little 10-minute episodes at a time. You know, I'm a practitioner. I use this stuff every day. I think about it a lot, and I try to teach you what I know that goes, hopefully a little bit beyond just the very basics. Many of you are small business owners who are just looking for ways to get out there, connect with an audience, and earn their trust, trying to turn them into customers ultimately. And it's small business owners of all types, which is really nice to see. So that is not just sort of, startups and entrepreneurs, but it's also folks who are consultants and service providers and creatives like artists and musicians. And it's just great to see all of you doing great things. Often I get listeners who will send a comment or, and sometimes I'll take a minute just to check out their site. And it's impressive what all of you are doing. So it's very, very cool. So, being that it's Thanksgiving this week, I thought it was a good moment to, just offer some thanks to you, my audience. Really appreciate you all the time. I know I tell you that probably every episode, but it's really genuine and very true. So, okay. So I've been thinking a lot about my business, the podcast in general, and what I'd like to teach you next based on the questions that I get, the comments and all that. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time just sort of previewing some upcoming episodes and let you respond to this. See if these are things that you agree with, or if there's something else you want to hear. Let me hear from you. So here's what I've been thinking. First of all, I've been doing this social media strategy series. It's about time to wrap that up. I think I'm going to do one more capstone episode in the coming weeks, just to sort of tie it all together and come up with what I think is a good strategy for small business owners, sort of a cohesive strategy, or at least a roadmap to get you started, at least, right? It might not work for you exactly as I lay it out, but just to get you started and get you going. So I'm definitely going to do something like that. Another thing that I got planned is I'd like to do a set of unconventional content marketing strategies. I've been kind of wanting to do something like this, and I think I'm going to invite a special guest onto the podcast. And the thing I'm sort of excited about is that this guest has some opinions that are contrary to mine. So that should be really cool. I mean, I tend to think of myself as doing things that are, sort of grassroots and maybe unconventional myself. But it's always good to get folks on who have different or differing opinions and may cause you to think differently about certain things. And hey, it might cause me to think differently about certain things. So that should be fun. And I'll do that in an upcoming episode as well. And then the other things that I was thinking about, a couple other sort of big topics that I get asked about a lot and would like to develop a set of content, a series or something around these two things. And one, which I haven't spent a lot of time on to date, is SEO, search engine optimization. I do a lot of this in practice. I would consider myself to be pretty good at it, though not sort of a technical expert at it. And here's the thing, to get some effect out of it, I don't think that you need to be. I tend to think of myself as a content guy, and SEO is all about content, really good content. But of course, writing for the web is not just about sort of writing good content, putting it out there and having people show up. You've got to have it be searchable and indexable by the Google bots as well. And, so it has to be the right content, and it has to be put in the right boxes in WordPress. And this stuff is endlessly fascinating. It doesn't have to be super techy, but it is critically important. And, I've developed sort of a set of principles around this, and I thought that might be something that'd be good to share as well. So let me know what you think about that. Thinking about a series to cover the breadth of this and go a little deeper than sort of the, basics type posts. All right, so the next thing then would be a series maybe on some more advanced strategies for reusing content as a part of a content strategy. I do this a lot in my own work, and I do this a lot in advising clients as well. And this is something where, for instance, you might start with a blog or a podcast, build that content that you're producing and using to build an audience, build that into something bigger like a book or like an online course, or using it for email sequences that you might use for either onboarding new clients or new customers, or for acquisitions, right? I mean, everything that you're trying to do in your content strategy is teaching, right? That's what you're there to do. You're there to instruct or inform or inspire or enlighten or change the minds of your prospects and turn them into customers. And, that all involves content structured properly, sequenced properly. And look, who better to do that than you, right? Because you know your realm extremely well. You're there to teach. You have some knowledge. Help your customers learn what it will take for them to become a customer. And I don't mean that facetiously. I mean that as sort of, sometimes they need to know, they need to be educated about what you do and what are the important issues in each realm. And I'd like to sort of tease that out a little bit, probably in the form of a series, just go a little bit deeper on that. And the reason that I've been thinking a lot about that is just, there's a couple things. One is that I've been producing this online course. The product is called Create Biz. Stay tuned on this podcast. I'll be talking a bunch more about that in the future because, this thing's nearly ready to launch. We're scheduling this in February. It's 42 video units with some assignments and worksheets and all that. And basically it's to teach creative professionals, so think writers, musicians, visual artists, how to use a content strategy to build an audience. And it's really, really in-depth. I'm doing this in partnership with a guy named Dave Kusek, and he's been building courses for a while now. And, both of us run a small business, both of us teach, and this is going to be really, really great. But I've learned a lot about sort of, sequencing content and just what it takes to teach this stuff. But between that and teaching a course at Emerson College, I've just learned a lot about, how to sequence a set of content so that a novice who's new to your realm can understand it. In other words, what's the first thing that you need to know? What's the second thing that you need to know, etc. And so there's that. But also, here's the thing. I see a ton of folks who are doing the same type of thing that I'm doing. In other words, trying to teach small business owners to run their business or to do marketing or to, do any particular aspect of the things that you need to do to be a successful business person. And, there's so much basic content out there, so much about sort of soft skills and things that are, frankly, very thin value. And look, I do that type of thing too, just because I have a particular philosophy and I like to impart that because I think it's important as sort of an underpinning or a foundation. But also, let's face it, if it never goes beyond that, it's not really that useful. Maybe to a rank beginner, but at some point you got to go a little deeper than that. And that's really what I'd like to do with this. I feel like I've done that in the social media strategy series. That wasn't just sort of, you should use Twitter, but it was sort of, considerations for whether or not that'd be a good platform for you, and then strategy so that, you can get up and running and not have to waste time learning that. I mean, I wanted to go really a lot deeper than just the basics in these episodes. And one, I feel like I've done that. And two, I feel like you've rewarded me with that. I've gotten a ton of downloads on that, a ton of attention on this. And that's because I think it stands out. And, I know I'm not exactly objective when it comes to looking at this, but I feel like, when you do a little bit more of a deeper dive into something, share more of your expertise, I just feel like it's better for your audience. And so that's kind of why I was thinking of these strategies and just sort of upcoming episodes and just having these things go a little bit deeper and share a little bit more of the strategies that I learn as a practitioner out there every day. All right, so let me know what you think about that. You like these ideas? Do you think that they're not necessary? Do you think that they're overdone? You let me know, and I'd love to hear your feedback on it. And in the meantime, I invite you to subscribe in iTunes or your favorite podcasting app, or, to subscribe to my site at controlmouse.media. I don't spam in a newsletter format. for those of you who are on the list, you understand and you know that I only probably send an email every quarter, and I try to keep it the most useful that I can with highlighting posts that are I think are going to be of particular interest to you. So you could do that as well. Please continue to share these on social. I really appreciate all of you who seem to be getting some value out of it and actually sharing it to bring new people to the podcast. Let me tell you that it seems to be working. So if you're doing that, I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, I'd love it if you would. And then lastly, I've said this before, but hit me up directly. I have a contact form on my site, or hit me up at Twitter, which is at @mboezi, MBOEZI. Let me know what you want to hear. Give me some constructive feedback if you don't mind. I mean, I love to hear from you. So, all right, so that'll about do it. These were just some things that I've been thinking about, wanted to put them in front of you. So there it is. We'll get back to regularly scheduled programming after the Thanksgiving holiday. So, to you, your friends, your family, I wish you a very happy and safe Thanksgiving, and hope that you're able to get some rest, do some reflection, eat some good food, spend time with people that you love. Wish all that for you. So we'll see you after the break, and thank you very much, as always, for listening.